You come from Lahore, I believe.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell us what are the biggest problems of big cities of Pakistan, and do you have any suggestions and recommendations to eradicate those problems?
So first biggest problem which I see is urbanization, because all the bigger cities have the maximum, you can say, facilities, and that attracts the people from other areas too, and that is why they are rapidly moving towards the bigger cities, and Lahore is one example too, and that is why it is expanding more and more. This is ultimately going to result in governance issues and you can say space issues too. So that this needs to be addressed, and this can be addressed in a way that.
Can you identify the problems?
Yes, sir.
One by one?
Right, sir. So in my opinion, there are three big problems. First is urbanization, second is the water issues, and third, if you talk about Lahore, the smog issue, and that is related to the climate as well. Uh, if we talk about urbanization, we need to be providing facilities to other cities as well, so that urbanization is curbed. And second element is that population is very much expanding too, and we need to raise awareness campaigns how to stop population explosion.
Now, similar problems are seen even in rural areas also. Then how do you associate these problems only to urban area like Lahore?
So because population is definitely an issue which is most likely more in rural areas as compared to urban areas, but the major toll because of this population, hefty population, is coming towards the urban areas because of the urbanization. Most people move and migrate towards the urban areas because of the lack of facilities in the rural areas.
Okay, what is third law of Newton?
So action and reaction are equal in magnitude but opposite in direction.
Can you relate it to something in practical life?
So I'm not exactly sure. Are you talking about some social issues or
no? Scientific.
So it is, you can say, seen everywhere. For example, rocket propulsion. There, every particular phenomena is moving towards that. If we actually bounce the ball towards the wall, it comes back due to that particular reaction as well. Yes, some energy losses are, you can say, there. For example, friction. For example, due to some air friction as well, and the contact with the, you can say, wall. But it is always there. You can say, because everything is. For example, this particular table is placed on the, you can say, on the floor. A reaction force is there from the floor as well, and one particular force is applied by the table on the floor.
Okay, Mr. Bilal, analyze the relations of Pakistan with its neighbors like Iran, Afghanistan, India, and China.
So relations with China have always been really good, and they've got another boost because of the projects like CPEC and the other projects. And I believe they're going to be reinforced as well in the future as well because of the future nexus between America and India, which basically America is trying to prop India against China as well. So China understands the importance of Pakistan, and Pakistan understands the importance of China as well. As far as India and Afghanistan are concerned, so relationships with both these countries have not been really good. With India, Kashmir has been one of the major bone of contentions, and that particular issue needs to be resolved if the relations between these two countries are to be improved. With Afghanistan, there has been the issues of Taliban is there, the issues of terrorism is there, and there has been very, you can say, contradictions between both the countries, but the relations have not been good. With Iran, I think the strategy of Pakistan has mostly been seen with the lens of USA as well. When USA has imposed sanctions on Iran, we have halted all the trade with Iran as well, which includes the gas pipeline projects too. But once the relations with America has been improved, our relations with Iran have been improved too. But you can say the relations with Iran have been fairly stable when we compare it to Afghanistan or India.
What's a cash crop?
So I believe cash crop is one of those crops in which are basically exported to the other countries in order to get the revenues.
Can you name 2-3 cash crops in
cotton,
Pakistan?
I believe cotton is one of them, but I'm not sure about the others.
Okay. Can you tell us certain steps which government of Pakistan has taken to upgrade the life of transgender?
So as far as the, you can say, transgenders are concerned, certain rules are being, you can say, made so that they can be incorporated into government services, and there's a particular quota as well for transgenders. And now, you know, there is a awareness campaign not by the government too, but from the, you can say, NGOs and civil society as well, to incorporate them into the mainstream society.
Okay, where is the location of Thal Desert?
So Thal is, if you allow me to guess, I think it is in Bahawalpur.
No. Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Bilal Zubair, you have studied sociology as one of your optional subjects.
Yes, sir.
What are the three perspectives of sociology?
So three perspectives of sociology are structure, functionalist. There's a critical perspective as well, and there's the interpretive perspective of sociology.
Symbolic interactionist,
yes, sir.
Conflict perspective,
and the structural functionalist.
Okay. Explain the structural functionalist school of sociology.
So basically, structural functionalists consider the society as a part of a system. You can say a complex system in which different parts are interacting with each other in order to do the desired work. I would like to explain it with an example of a car. A car has different, you can say, components. Let's say tires, let's say engines. Although all of them are not equal, but they are contributing towards the car as well. So structural functionalists believe that every specific individual, every specific class or the gender as well has a certain role to play, and that role needs to be assigned to that particular class so that society progresses as a whole.
So, what is the contribution of Herbert Spencer to sociological thought?
So Herbert Spencer basically was again a structural functionalist, and he basically compared the, you can say, society with that of an organism. And he believed that societies are complex and organisms are complex as well, and they evolve from smaller to the bigger, you can say, size.
Okay, since you have worked with packages, so shed some light on the work of Frederick Taylor.
Right, sir. So Frederick Taylor basically gave the concepts of time and motion, time study basically. He basically standardized the jobs of certain people by analyzing how much time does it take to perform a certain task of work. So basically, he conducted that particular study, that how much standardized time is required, and then assigned that particular time to a particular task. That what resultantly basically when you can say when a product was being made, that was being made on a particular time, and a specific lead time could be, you could say, calculated afterwards.
So it led to greater efficiency,
yes,
specialization.
Yes, sir, absolutely. Standardization of the work as well.
Right. In your view, will Pakistan come out of grey list of FATF? You know, there is going to be a review meeting in February next year. Recently, I was reading in the newspaper an article which was very heartening, that Pakistan has shown satisfactory compliance in 21 out of 27 areas. So in which 6 remaining areas Pakistan still needs to do more to come out of the grey list?
All right, sir. So in my opinion, Pakistan would come out of the grey list in the next review as well, because as you mentioned before, we've already complied to almost 75% of the action plans. Now only 25% of them are left. The points which are left are basically dealing with the implementation of the mechanisms which have already been installed. Initially, we were told that we need to strengthen our laws so that we can combat anti-money laundering, we can combat financing of terrorism as well. We've done that, and now they want us to prosecute the certain people who fall into these laws as well. So we are basically falling behind as far as our implementation is concerned. Now in February as well, basically we are being told that there is going to be another review as well, and the president of FATF, Marcus Player, has already praised Pakistan's contribution towards that too. And now Pakistan needs to be diplomatically, sending its message very clearly that we have, you can say, comply to most of the action plans. Implementation is definitely weak, but there are some local dynamics too. So if you think that our implementation mechanisms are weak, either grant us some interim period if you're not permanently taking us out of the grey list so that we can comply to these mechanisms, but our economy needs to be strengthened in that way.
Bilal Zubair, in case Pakistan remains on the grey list, what would be the negative implications?
So first thing is your international image. We claim that our issue of Kashmir is there. India is, you can say, having abusing the human rights there as well. So if India claims that Pakistan is perpetrating terrorism too, so that reinforces their own claim as well, that we are the country who are financing the terrorism. So that hurts us diplomatically internationally. Second thing is, sir, investors coming into Pakistan as well, they'll be, you can say, very much reluctant to invest into Pakistan as well, because there will be certain checks and balances which will be because of the fact that we're on the grey list will be imposed in Pakistan. So investors always like to invest in those places where there is an ease of doing business as well. So that will hurt us economically too. And there will be obviously more checks and balances on our banking systems too. So ultimately that will...
So investment hates uncertainty.
Yes, sir, absolutely.
Okay. 2 countries have been taken out of grey list. Could you name those 2 countries?
Sir, I believe it was Iceland. One of them was Finland, but I'm not sure about the other one.
Iceland and Mongolia. Last question from my side. What are some of the steps taken by the government for women emancipation in administrative terms as well as in legislative terms?
Sir, as far as the legislation is concerned, as far as administration is concerned, we have established VAWCs where you can say women can, complain, and then there are, you can say, in the concept of violence against women, they can complain and go to those centers and seek help from there too. There have been laws as far as the anti-harassment laws as well, because whenever there's a harassment case in the, you can say, office, women can complain to that, and there's going to be a certain board which will be set and hear the inquiries too. So there are certain harassment laws now in place too. And as far as this is basically on the administration as
Women Ombudsman, Office of the Women
yes,
Ombudsman
women
is there.
Ombudsman is there as well.
There is a 10% quota for women in civil service. They have been given more seats. So government has taken many steps,
Yes, sir.
both administrative and legislative. Yes, you were coming to legislative steps.
So these are basically, you can say, because of the legislations that now we are going to be, you can say, there is going to be specific punishments for, you can say, people who are committing the acid crimes as well. There is going to be certain amount of punishment which is going to be regarding the harassment as well. And even in the, you can say, in bazaars, or the teasing element was there. Now there are certain laws in place. I do not really know the exact laws, but I've read them that there were laws person who is offending these things will be punishable.
So, what is the international perception about this issue? I mean, there is a global parity, gender parity report. So, what is Pakistan's international standing on this issue?
So Pakistan's international standing is quite low, and Pakistan is probably the second worst country when it comes to the women too, as far as the report is concerned. Of what Women Economic probably Forum's report was there, that Pakistan is the second worst country. Pakistan is taking steps, but the patriarchal attitudes and, you can say, the specific mindset of the people are still yet to be changed, which is obviously going to take some time, and that will gradually change once the education seeps in, because our literacy rate is still very low.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Bilal Zubair, well done, bete. I think that ends your interview with us.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now that the interview is over, let's consult each other and try to compare notes about the gentleman. Let me start with you, sir.
Sir, I think he speaks a bit too fast, as a result of which sometimes he minces his words and does not pronounce it clearly. Similarly, on the issue of corruption, he couldn't give any analytical answer. But on the whole, I think his communication skill, considering his reasonable good communication skill and eye contact, I think he should be given at least above 60.
Okay, thank you.
I think he appears to be a good candidate, and he was in a position to analyze various issues posed to him, and especially on current affairs, international affairs. And then he could speak very well, though he was speaking a bit fast. But naturally, when a young man like of his age is there before such a forum, it is bound that he is likely to commit some of the things which are otherwise not expected. But he was confident, he spoke very well, and he came up to the occasion. Now, we cannot expect him that he would be knowing each and everything, but we are going to ask from him. Otherwise, he appears to be an all-rounder. He is a good candidate. And the way he presented himself here, I recommend that he must be awarded about 65 to 70% mark.
Thank you. Kamran sir.
Thank you, sir. Sir, I would like to support the viewpoint just presented by my worthy colleague. He was confident, decent, mature. His hand movements were quite restrained, good eye contact, good posture. He exhibited a reasonably good knowledge base and a rational bent of mind, a critical understanding of issues. He was articulate, his content was good, delivery style was good. He was mentally robust, emotionally stable, quick on the uptake, handled pressure quite well, clear-headed and focused. I think he deserves close to 70% marks, between 65 and 70%.
Well, I agree with most of what you have said. I found him to be very well composed, confident. Body language, as you pointed out, eye contact, hand movement, they were all very impressive. And on a number of issues, he was able to engage the panel well. GB पे उसने बड़ा convincing अच्छा जवाब दिया. He spoke well overall. And he spoke a bit too fast. I don't like that. In a candidate, जो आपने point out किया, he was mincing words, पूरा sentence पूरी तरह सही तरह complete नहीं करता था, अगले sentence पे आ जाता था. ये advice मैं ladies को हर दफ़ा करता हूँ, because they tend to speak too fast. Okay? तहम्मुल से, आराम से गुफ्तगू करें, engage the panel so that you get through to the panel. ये चीज़ें उसमें observe मैंने की, ये चीज़ें मैंने उसमें देखी. Otherwise, I will agree with all three of you कि he was a 70, around 70 type of a candidate, and did fairly well. We wish him well.